program that we're presenting is called a Parent Project program, developed by a police officer from Pomona and also psychiatrists from out there in the Inland Empire. And at this point, the problem with kids and their parents not being able to give them a solution has become so serious. It really, this program seems to be the only thing that they have a chance at, and it doesn't always work, but we do have a success rate with it. But like I mentioned a minute ago, it's all they have, you know, giving their kids limits, a lot of love, and just trying to in general get them to change their way of viewing things.
La otra cosa que hablamos es que ya no vamos a tener el vocabulario de nuestra casa, ya no se ocupa no. El no tiene que desaparecer. Mamá, quiero ir a ver quiero salir al corredor. No, porque no ha terminado la tarea. No vamos a decir así. ¿Cómo vamos a decir? Por supuesto, cuando termine la tarea. Mamá, quiero ver televisión. Por supuesto, cuando me recoja los platos.
Would you say that that's why a lot of the things happen, why these kids are acting out? It's because of that pressure from their peers to act, to be a certain way, to act a certain way?
I think that it's a huge part of it, and then another part of it is the internet, or just what society dictates. This is, if you don't dress this way, if you don't look this way, if you're not interested in this kind of music, then there's something wrong with you. And I think the peer pressure is a huge part of it, and that just society in general is like dictating what's in or what's out. And at this age, everybody wants to be in. Kids want to be in. There's a few exceptions where kids say, you know what, I'm not into that. I don't think that's what I should be doing, and I think I should be doing this. But that's the exception today.
What do you think the most important aspect of the program is to get these kids out of this kind of endless cycle of, you know, what they see in society and what their friends are telling them? Is there...
Well, the part of it is we don't actually work with the kids. What we do and we don't. We work with the kids through their parents. So we're trying to get their parents on board. And the biggest thing, the whole foundation of all these tactics, they're very difficult tactics. There's a lot of supervision. There's a lot of putting yourself in harm's way for the parent. But none of these tactics, we've got several tactics, and none of them work if you don't have that element of love. That's the foundation of this whole thing. You're not going to get what you want if you don't have the love. And that's what's lacking in general in today's society. And one of the things that I think just people do in general, especially immigrant parents, especially immigrant Hispanic dads, I would have to say, they love their kids. They love their kids as much or more than anybody else in society, but they're very bad at conveying that message to the kids. And they'll go by, well, of course he knows I love him. I go to work every day. I bought him those tennis shoes. I bought him a bike or a skateboard. How's he not going to think that I love him? But they just never use those words. And now with kids nowadays, you got to be really clear in how you talk to them. And you just outright have to use those words. I love you, son. You're the most important thing I've ever done. And everything I do for you. And you got to really, not only just say those words, but you got to put that into action.
Y que nosotros teníamos que tratar a nuestros hijos con mucho amor. Y les teníamos que dar muchos abrazos, besos. ¿Qué más?
And one of the successes that we've had is we try to get the parents to view the world from the viewpoint of their son, which is obviously very much different than adult. Since we can't get them to step up and see what the world looks through our eyes or their eyes, we have to stoop down and see how they view the world and maybe not take things so personal. That a child doesn't really intend to misbehave or be bad. When he gets out of school, he's coming home, he's got his sweatshirt and his backpack, and he's not walking down the street thinking, well, mom and dad's home. Gee, I'd really like to make them mad. See, what can I do? Okay, yeah, I know if I throw my backpack or my sweatshirt on the floor, that's going to really light them up and it's going to really piss them off. So they just don't think like that. But what happens, they walking down the street thinking of what they're going to do. They walk into the house, they throw their backpack on the floor, they throw their sweatshirt somewhere else. A parent who's, I mean, you're already stressed out just being a parent. Then you're doubly stressed out because you're an immigrant parent, wondering how am I going to put food on the table, how am I going to pay the rent. and you're stressed out, you're mad, and you want to vent, so you see that. It's not much of an excuse to vent, but then that's where the arguments start. And we're not telling parents, hey, you should let your kid throw his stuff on the floor. That should never be tolerated, but you should just understand that he didn't come in here intending to upset you, and you kind of got to try to see the world from their angle.
De que no vamos a darle cachetadas, ¿ok? No discrimina, no cachetadas, no golpes, porque nosotros sabemos que los golpes lo que van a hacer es romper la relación que ustedes tienen. Yo sé que uno tiene ganas de darles y de jalarles del pelo y decir que no entiende, ¿verdad? Porque uno está frustrado. Pero eso no lo vamos a hacer. Ahora nosotros vamos a establecer reglas en la casa. Y el niño tiene que saber cuáles son las reglas de la casa.
Really, it's become the girls now who are enticing boys, and I've really seen them out here in the yard sometimes where a guy will say something to another guy, and the guy will kind of blow it off, but they kind of don't want to get into it, and you'll have the girl like something, hey, you're going to let him talk to you that way?
So they're the instigators?
They're the instigators. They're instigating, and a lot of, I can go on forever, but they're instigating. Even a lot of the underage sexual activity is coming on by the girls. You know, before it was the guys kind of always wanting to, you know, get what they want from the girl, and then we're kind of done. But now it's kind of reversed, that role's reversed, and the girls enticing the guys. And right now the kids have they're 3 weeks into the Jeopardy part of the program, which it really amounts to like 2.5 hours of would be a boot camp. And right now the kids are saying, hey mom, because I hate this, they yell at me. I mean, these kids are out here and they're cussing up a storm. You might have heard them. So right now I got a call from a mom. I go, hey, make sure you got your Jeopardy application in, because today's the last day they're going to receive it. And she goes, well, you know, I wanted to talk to you about that. Gabriel said, I shouldn't have used it. Gabriel said that the police officers cuss at them when they're doing this. And I'm going, well, you know what? I heard your son, and he's pretty good at cussing too, and I'm sure there's nothing going on over there that he hasn't heard before. But these kids are doing everything in their power right now to get their moms to say, okay, you know what? I want to get my son out of there. And I'm telling the moms, you know what? This is the only tool you have. They're not afraid of anything in the world. They're not afraid of school. They're not afraid of the principal. They're not afraid of the teachers. But they're afraid of going over there and working their butts off and having somebody yell or cuss at them. So we've got one thing, and we need to stay with the program. Use that hook, that only hook that you've got.
Do you think that's a vital part of the program, the police part, like that kind of three-way dynamic with the kids, the parents, and the police?
We've had successes without it, because we did do a few sessions until there was a real good police officer who came over here, and he says, you know what, I've got these kids, they've got no parents, they don't care. And I go, well, that's kind of weird, because I've got the parents and they say the same thing about their kids. So through that union, we kind of came together. So we did have some success prior to it, but I think their success has increased a lot because we do have the police involved.
Do you think there's some therapeutic aspect to that in terms of mothers, you know, talking with each other, hearing?
That's everything. That's absolutely everything. That's I've had so many parents. I think, you know what, my problem, nobody has my problem. I'll never get out of this thing. I don't know how I'm going to cope with it. And somehow or another, I trick them. I mean, I have so many tactics. I talk them into, well, just try it, see what you think. And then they, like, as you've been around, as you see that we kind of ask each parent, how did it go last week? And then they start getting to know each parent. They go, Jesus, I thought I was messed up. This person has problems. I thought I had it bad. This person has tons of problems. Like, there was a